Anyways, guys, I hope you guys are doing good. I am doing okay. Not great, but okay. So today I've come to tell a story, which I usually don't like to tell, but I'll just tell it anyway. It's about an accident I had. It was a chin accident, I would say, which broke my bone the bone that holds the gum and goes all the way up to the lower end of the ear. It's called the TMJ. So I just want to recap what happened before the accident and shortly after the accident. So on this day, we were working on a certain project in Kasangati. There is a clinic there, which was not yet open at the time because we were the ones who were doing the construction of the partitions for that clinic. It's a very big and very expensive clinic. It's called Children's Care. Yeah, it's now opened. So we go there in the morning. We were finalizing up the building of the gypsum walls, which were to form the partitions. We do the walls, and because we were aiming to finish them that day, we were ready to work up to whatever time we could stop as long as we finish. So we moved on with work up to around 10:30 p.m. I think it was beyond that. It was towards midnight, like 11:30 or something, but it was late in the night. Probably after midnight, I'm not so sure. So we were two guys. It was me and some other guy. So what happened? We had arranged with the company border guy. The company for which I worked, it was my former workplace. They had some border guy that usually used to drive us to and from sites. And it's only when he was unavailable that we would use these other random border guys that we would meet along the way. So what happened that day? He was available. So we called him to come and pick us when we were done late in the night. The guy comes, he finds us in Kasangati. We were going to Chireka. So for those who don't know the places, Kasangati is about 20 to 25 minutes away from Chireka on a border. Now, this guy comes from Chireka, where our offices were, where our workshop is. He comes to pick us. We board the judge, me and this guy with whom I was working with. I was the one seated behind. So we set off. So this guy is riding at a supersonic speed, but it is understandable because it's late in the night. First of all, as much as we don't appreciate the speed he's riding on, we also want to get home as early as possible, because by 7 the next day we are supposed to be back at the site. And it's already late in the night. So we want to get home as fast as we can, sleep for about 5 hours, come back in the morning and continue with the work. Now, it so happens that on the road, you see from Kasangati, there is a certain road that goes to Chila roundabout, then you can proceed to Chireka. So on the road from Kasangati to Chila roundabout, they had just put some very huge humps, like humps which are about over how many centimeters from the road, like the height of the hump. They were very, very, very huge. So this guy at his supersonic speed hit a hump, and the boulder jumped so high that we, the people who were seated on the border, also jumped, and like our bodies got off the off the border. You get what I'm saying? Like as it jumped, it lifted us, so it was supposed to land, and we also land on it, then we continue. But I was the person at the end, and it was these borders which don't have, in Uganda there is a certain new kind of border design which has some extension, whereby if you're about 3 people, the third person can sit on that extension. Now this didn't have that. So I was seated at half of my bum was not seated, something like that. So when we jumped, on landing, my body landed late. The judge had already moved. So the first part of my body that hit the tarmac road was my... So, and the reason as to why it was like that is because when I jumped, on coming back, I realized I'm going on the ground. So I tried to adjust because of the panic and reflex actions, I hit this part. So when I hit this part, I rolled from the road towards the side tracks of the road. So I think these guys, having continued, they realized I didn't sit. I was no longer on the border. So they had to turn and come back. Now as they were coming back, I was holding myself like this. I thought I was dying. And the funny thing, a very weird thing, I remember thinking at the time, something like, God, if I'm to go, let it not be like this, let it not be in this kind of pain. So these guys came back. I was bleeding. I had got a wound here. I was bleeding here. I was not feeling my jaw. So I had now to sit back on the border. I remember even my wristwatch got off. I realized I didn't have my wristwatch like the next morning, but it got off when I had the accident. That I didn't realize immediately. So now when these guys came back on the border, I had to sit in the middle. This other guy who was in the middle is now the one who sat at the back, and now we started to ride, trying to get a clinic that is open at the time so that I can get some first aid. So we move. Luckily enough, there was some car open clinic shortly after the Chira roundabout. It was called over Gatewell. Was it called Gatewell? I even forget. This happened on 8th of March 2025, and now we are in 2026. So it's more than a year ago. It's the reason I have totally healed. I have 95% healed. It's why you can't even tell. So anyway, to wrap up the story very fast, I get to that clinic, I text my parents, I let them know. Our boss gets to know. This church guy calls him, the boss stands up at the clinic that night. I get some first aid, I get some stitching. the doctor at the clinic realizes he might not be able to work on the dislocated jaw. At the time they thought it was just dislocated, so they recommend me to a certain clinic in Chireka. So I spend the night at this clinic. The next morning my dad comes to the clinic, picks me up, we go to the recommended clinic in Chireka. We reach there, they tell me they might not be able to work on me as well, so they refer me to Mulago. I go to Mulago, I get x-rays, I get appointment with a certain outside doctor. Like, this doctor I was sent to doesn't work in Mulago. He has some clinic, some dental, how do we call it, dental clinic. Like, he works only on dental stuff. So I go there, and this is the guy that happened to work on me, and he saved us because while at Mulago they had told us the thing is going to cost an average of 4 million, but that was going to be a surgery. They are going to cut here, get the bone back in place, and then as a way of holding it back in place for it to heal, they are going to get some plates and connect the two bones, because now it had gotten, like, it had broken. So they connect here and connect here, then put back the skin, then allow me to heal. But we went for a cheaper option, which was this guy pulled the thing manually. So as a way of holding it in position, he put some wires in my teeth to, like, he would hold the lower tooth and the lower tooth and the upper tooth together using wires. So he did that here, here, and two of them here. So I could not open my, I was always like, you get, I could not open. So I wasn't eating food, I was only drinking through a straw, so that whatever I drink passes in between the teeth and becomes my food. So it worked, because after how many months was it? 1.5 to 2 months, when they removed the wires, I was at least, and then with time I got to heal. So thanks be to God, I survived. Could have died that day, could have, if for example, because of, if instead of this I hit there some other part of the head that is maybe so sensitive, maybe this, or the impact was so big, by the time it broke this bone, if it had landed on a part that is more fragile, it was going to be catastrophic. But thank God that it didn't happen, right? Yeah. Yep. As for what I learned from that, anyways, maybe it could have reminded me of some things that I already knew. Anyway, what I learned from it is the the human skull anatomy. Because every time I used to go for x-ray, every time I used to meet doctors, they used to mention terms which I would later go and research on the internet and find out what they were trying to say. So yeah, by the time I was healed, I knew much to do with the names and the functions of the different bones around this place. Yeah, that's basically it. That was it. Bye guys.